Today I'm going to show you how to make a vanilla sponge with mock cream, which is a 1940s recipe. I've said before that during the war there wasn't any cream available. In fact, you couldn't get cream again until 1953, but there were substitutes. So I'm going to show you how to do the basic sponge, which is like a Victoria sandwich, and then when it's cool we're going to make up some mock cream and fill it. So I've weighed out 175 grams of each. We've got stalk with butter, we've got 175 grams of golden caster sugar, and I was not able to get any gluten-free self-raising flour yesterday, so I got this Waitrose sweet and nutty spelt flour, and I will add about 2 teaspoons of baking powder to that to give it some lift. And we've got some eggs and we've got vanilla. So first of all, cut the stalk with butter and the caster sugar into a bowl and cream that until it's pale and fluffy. And then I'm going to sieve the flour and baking powder to get together into the mixture, bit at a time. Fold that into the mixture. Get the flour from around the sides of the bowl. If you prefer, you could use a whisk or a food processor or KitchenAid or something like that, but I do mine the old-fashioned way. In the early 40s you wouldn't really have had any mixer. Mixers started to come through into homes in the late 1940s. And just keep doing this until all the flour is combined. While it's all being combined, remember to add another egg, otherwise the mixture will become too stiff and you won't be able to do anything with it, and the flour will go everywhere. Top tip! Go carefully. Scrape it carefully from the sides of the bowl. And all the flour incorporated. Add one more egg. Try and use free range eggs whenever you can. These are free range. I try to get them on special offer deals. I shop around for the best value free range egg, especially when pennies are tight. I don't like using battery eggs at all. Barn eggs are maybe not quite so bad, but not battery eggs. Yuck. Hens have a horrible life. There we go, that's all mixed in, everything's incorporated. I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract as well. Just stir that in. Is always very popular and it's a good brand. I also use Waitrose Cook's ingredients quite a lot. Anything of good quality is perfect for the job. As my stepmom would say, you get what you pay for. So this is ready now to split between the 2 tins. I've got 2 tins, greased and lined. I've set the oven to 180 Celsius, gas mark 4. A dollop in each pan to try and get it as even as possible. It doesn't matter if one of the sponges comes out slightly more risen than the other at all. My hubby will probably lick out the rest of the batter in the bowl. He can't keep his hands off the batter. Spread this all over the base with the back of the spoon. And waste as little of it as possible. I'm sure kids love baking because it can be a bit of a messy job at times. And kids love getting messy. I know I did when I was a kid. I used to make mud pies in the back of the garden. Always mud pies. Either that or playing with toy racing cars. I was a bit of a tomboy. And I liked nothing better than a good scrump. There we go. So So they go in the oven now for about 15 to 20 minutes. Oven temperatures vary, so look at them after about 15. This has had about 20 minutes now. Take it out of the oven. Test it with a skewer. That comes out clean, so that's ready. If you don't have a skewer, you could use a fork, and as long as it comes out clean, that is with no batter attached to it, then it's ready. If there's some batter and maybe 1 or 2 crumbs, it probably needs a bit longer, 5 or 10 minutes, and that is always a good way of checking. Also, you can press that, and if it feels nice and springy, then it's ready. I'm going to use stork with butter. The original recipe out of the Marguerite Patten book is 1 ounce of butter or margarine, 1 ounce of sugar. I'm using icing sugar because it's going in a cake. I don't want any grainy bits. 1 tablespoon of dried milk powder and 1 tablespoon of milk. Now that's normally for 2 to 4 people, but it won't be sufficient for a cake. So I'm using 75 grams of the stork with butter, 75 grams of icing sugar, 3 tablespoons of dried milk powder, and 3 tablespoons of milk. So I'm going to weigh out 75 grams of stork with butter first. That's about right. Into the bowl. And then I'm going to weigh out 75 grams of icing sugar, which should be sifted. And cream the two together in the bowl until they're nice and smooth and fluffy. And here it is now, all well combined. Then we want 3 tablespoons of skimmed milk powder in a bowl. Mixed with 3 tablespoons of milk. and mix this to a paste. It'll be a thick paste. And then add it to the contents of the butter mixture. And give it a stir. Have a little taste. That's not bad actually. It tastes a little bit buttery, but it does have like a slightly creamy edge to it. It's quite sweet, but it's quite nice. That's quite acceptable. I can understand why people would have something like this during the war. I'm going to put half cake on the plate. Don't worry there's any edges that stuck to the bottom of your cake pan. That doesn't matter. It's going to be covered anyway with a bit of jam and the mock cream. So I'm going to put a bit of jam on, just a little bit because the cream's quite sweet. And spread the jam over the sponge. That should be enough jam actually. So this is the mock cream. I'll just spread it in little dollops around. There was actually more than one recipe for mock cream. This I thought would be the better one for a sponge, because it's not quite as runny as the other one. That should actually be about enough. You don't want too much because it is quite sweet. Just swirl it over the middle, not too far out to the edges, because once the top half of the cake is on, it's going to squeeze it and push it outwards anyway. Just a tiny little bit. And we pop on the top, and as you can see, that's just right. I'll put that in the fridge to keep cool until later. First of all, I'm going to dust just a little bit of icing sugar over the top of the sponge just to finish it off. So here it is, my delicious vanilla sponge filled with jam and a little bit of 1940s mock cream.